Okay, in this video, I'm gonna compare two plugins, Snipe and Harpoon. What is Snipe? Let me bring it up real quick. In my case, I'm just gonna press Shift L. Notice that it's gonna show me all the buffers that I have open, and it's dynamically going to assign a letter to each buffer. So I can jump to any of these. If I press the letter H, I'm gonna jump to my tmux.conf file. I just did that right now. Here is the path to this file. And here is the number of buffers that I have open. That's just something that I added, just an indicator. If I press space, I go back to the buffer that I came from, to the alternate buffer. That's just the way that I configure that key map. Let me bring Snipe again. Now I'm gonna go to my CSHRC file. I'm just gonna press the letter S and it takes me there. Again, if I press space, takes me back to the alternate buffer. Now let me show you how Harpoon works. I'm gonna press space H. That's gonna bring up the Harpoon menu. I have 5 files here in the Harpoon list. Notice that each one of these has a number on the left-hand side. So I can press space 1 to jump to the CSHRC file, space 5 to jump to the wezterm.lua file. Let's give it a try. Just gonna press Q here, that quits. Gonna press space 1, jumps to the CSHRC file. Now if I press space, you can see here the different key maps. 5 is to go to file 5. Just press 5, takes me there. If I press space 2, takes me to this file, keymaps.lua, space 3, space 4, space 5, space 1. I'm gonna jump to a different tmux session. I'm gonna press hyper-tu. That's gonna take me to my Obsidian session. This is where I take my notes. I'm going to bring up the Harpoon menu, space H. Notice that I have 5 files here in the list, and I can jump between them the exact same way. Space 1 is the file that I'm on, space 2, space 3, space 4, space 5. And if I bring Snipe, I'm gonna see as well the same buffers that are open, and I can jump to any of these by pressing a single letter, the letter F, for example. I'm gonna open a new file, leader FF, to bring up telescope, and I'm gonna bring up this Gluster FS buffer. Here's the buffer open. Notice that I have 6 files or 6 buffers open right now. I'm gonna bring up another file. Let me bring up this Kubernetes file. Just gonna hit enter here. I'm just gonna fold everything, leader MFK, to only show headings of level 2. If you wanna know how I fold the headings, I have a video, and there's the one that is shown here on the screen. Fold markdown headings in Neovim with a key map. So now I have 7 buffers that are open. If I bring up Harpoon, I only have the same 5 that I have there. But if I bring Snipe, I have the 7 files here, and I can switch between them with the letter. I'm gonna press L to go to Gluster. I'm gonna bring up Snipe again, and I'm gonna press F to go to the macOS file. Just gonna enable line numbers here. Not sure why they were disabled. You're gonna notice as well that I'm finally on wezterm. I had been using Kitty for quite a long time, but a lot of you in the comments recommended that I should try wezterm out. So far, it's been working great. I released a video in which I explain how I configure wezterm and all the settings. And this is the video, the one shown here. So go and check it out if you want to understand how I set up wezterm. Let me jump to this test markdown file. Just press the letter S. Let me go to this heading, image, nvim to view images. And notice that I can view images in Neovim when using wezterm. So it works just fine, the same as Kitty. Now let me show you how to configure these plugins. Let's go to Snipe first. hyper-tu is gonna bring me back to my .files latest repo. Gonna bring Snipe, and I'm gonna go to the snipe.lua file by pressing the letter A. Here is the configuration. You will be able to find this in my .files. Here is the path for this file. I may bring up my .files in case you don't know where those are. Here are the .files. Let me go to this link real quick. If you like this repo, make sure to star it. And this is where you'll be able to find all the files that I'm talking about in the video. The path to each one of them, remember, that is here at the top. Here's the configuration. Just grab all of it and paste it in your snipe.lua file. Here's where you configure which characters you want to be used in the dictionary. If you want to quit Snipe, you can do it with the letter Q. Let me bring it up. If I want to quit without switching to another file, just press Q. This is the sorting mechanism. You can use 2 options, default or last. If you set it to last, these files are going to be changing. Whatever file you open last is going to move to the top. So it's kind of difficult to navigate that way. If you leave it at default, they're always going to keep the same letter unless you close one of these buffers and you open a different one. But this is just my preferred way of navigating with this Snipe plugin. The key map, I didn't configure it here, but I'll show you where I configure that. I'm going to press space 2. Remember that I have that configured in Harpoon. Takes me to this keymaps.lua file. Here is the key map. Just make sure that you grab the section shown here. Notice that I configured this max path width. I set it to 1. So this is what allows this, only the name of the file, to be shown. Let me set it to 2 so you can see the difference. Just gonna quit Neovim, gonna reopen, restore the session. Now I'm gonna bring Snipe up again. Now I have 2 elements in the path. Just gonna switch this back to 1. Gonna quit and I'm going to reopen. Let me show you something else back here in the Snipe plugin. I'm gonna go to the repo real quick. I'm just gonna press GX. That takes me there. If you like this plugin, make sure to start it. Here's where you're gonna find the readme description and the options that can be used in the plugin. You're gonna notice something different here in my configuration, something additional. This is a PR that I submitted that allows you to close buffers with the letter D. This is not part of the source code yet. The developer is still deciding if this option is added to the code or not. But if you wanna grab that code and add it to your configuration, you can come here to pull requests, DD. You're gonna be able to find this add key map to close the buffer under the cursor. Let me go there. If you come to files changed, you're gonna be able to find the code. Just scroll down. This is the readme file. You don't need to add this. But what matters is this init.lua file. This is what determines the key map that you use to close buffers. And here's the code that you need to add to the same init.lua file, the code that you see here in green. What this allows you to do is when you have Snipe open, you just press the letter D and it automatically closes the buffer. I have an example here in case you want to check that out. Don't use this because I'm not going to maintain this plugin. I just created this fork to submit the PR, but make sure that you use this path to enable the plugin. So if I quit Neovim, I reopen it. I restore the session. Let me bring up LazyVim. I'm going to update the plugins right now. Capital U. The plugin is installed. Let's look at the URL. It's this one. I'm just going to uncomment this because I had it commented. Just going to reopen Neovim, restore the session. If I bring up Snipe, I can close my buffers by pressing the letter D. I press D again, D, and D. So it's just simpler to close the buffers. Let me open a few files with Harpoon. Just gonna press space 1, space 2, space 3, space 4, space 5. So I just have 6 buffers open right now. Another way that I navigate open buffers in Neovim is by using this telescope buffers plugin or configuration, we could say. If I press Shift H, it brings this up. It puts me in normal mode automatically so I can go up and down. The files are sorted by last accessed or most recently used, and I can go to one of the open buffers or I can close them with the letter D as well. So if I press D here, it's gonna close it, D. If you wanna know how I configure telescope buffers this way, I also have a video, which is this one, how I navigate between buffers in Neovim. I just explained how I set it up. To install Harpoon, if you're using the lazyvim.org distribution, it already comes installed. If you press space S and then K to go to symbol and you search for Harpoon here, you'll be able to find the different key maps for Harpoon. Space H, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Capital H is how you add a file to Harpoon. I forgot to mention how to delete files in Harpoon. Let me go there real quick. Just gonna press space H. Let's say that I don't want to have this file harpooned anymore. Just gonna press DD, just like in a regular buffer. If I quit, if I bring the list back up again, the file is gone. What if I want to change the order? What if I want this file to be the number 1? Just like in a regular buffer as well, DD, capital P, I'm gonna paste it up there. What if I want to move these 2 files to the top? Just gonna delete these, paste them up there. It's just like regular buffers. You can modify information here. If I quit Harpoon, if I bring it up, they're gonna remain in the same place. So Harpoon is more like a static configuration, files that you want to have in the same place all the time, and Snipe is something more dynamic that works only with the open buffers. Let me add a file to the list so you can see how that works as well. Notice that I have 4 files right now. I'm gonna quit here, leader FF to bring up telescope. I'm gonna look for colors here. I'm gonna open this file to add it to Harpoon. I'm gonna press space capital H. If I bring up the list right now, notice that the file was added here in the position number 5. You will also notice that I have a really easy way to change the color scheme everywhere in my system. I'm going to press Hyper-C-N. That is just a key map that I configured. And I'm going to select this dark puccine theme. Just gonna hit enter here. Notice that the colors changed in sketchy bar at the top. They changed in the Tmux bar. Just gonna quit wezterm right now. Just gonna bring it up. Just gonna quit Neovim. Notice that the colors did change in wezterm. If I run here Neofetch, for example, you'll be able to see these new colors. They changed in Starship. And if I reopen Neovim, you're gonna see that it has these colors applied as well. I'm gonna press S to restore the sessions. You can see the new color scheme applied. Let me go to a different file, this snipe.lua file, which is the one that we were working on. You're gonna see that the colors are different. If you wanna know how I did this, I have a video as well. Is this color scheme selector video that is highlighted on the screen. Go and check it out. I'm going to be reorganizing the scripts, so expect some changes. But if you want to set it up, you can. Works both Linux and Mac OS because it's only bash scripts, basically. If you're not using LazyVim, let me show you how to install Harpoon. Let me go to this lazyvim.org website. I'm just gonna go to this link. I'm just going to search here in the bar for Harpoon. Let me go to this entry Harpoon 2. Notice that you can enable it if you're using LazyVim with the lazy extras command. But if you're not using LazyVim, you scroll down here, you come here to the full spec, click on this. You want to apply the same configuration that Folky uses in LazyVim, you're going to find it here. So if you scroll down, you will be able to see the configuration here. So what's my takeaway? What is the plugin that I use the most? To be honest, the main plugin that I use to navigate is Telescope Buffers because it gives me a preview on the file here on the right hand side. This is to work with my open buffers. I just select the buffer, I delete buffers from here really easily. I can quickly look at the file on the preview. Harpoon, I'm not used to using it too much, maybe because I don't work with huge code bases. I don't need to have files pinned here in the list, but I'm still playing around with it and I'm sure that I'll find a use case for it. Snipe, I do use it as well, a little bit more than Harpoon maybe, because if you have a lot of buffers open, you can quickly jump to one of them by pressing a single letter. But by far my favorite one is Telescope Buffers. That doesn't mean that you only have to use one. The three of them can work together. Try them out, see which one works for you. Okay, so I covered everything. If you have any questions, if you want to share the plugins that you use, if you want to share any tips and tricks, leave them down in the comments. That was it for today. I'll see you in the next video.